Now I want to talk about punishment. Here's the thing about punishment, is that in order for punishment to work, 4 things have to happen every time the dog is punished. And this is where I always tell somebody that if you're going to hire a dog trainer and they're using negative reinforcement, ask them, what 4 steps have to happen in order for punishment to be effective? Because if you don't know these 4 steps, you're not using punishment correctly. So, the 4 steps. The first thing about punishment is that it has to be big enough to affect the dog's behavior. So it has to be a big thing that really startles the dog. The second thing is that it can't be associated with the owner. So if your dog jumps up on the counter and you say, "Bad dog, get off the counter," the dog associates that punishment with you. So if you're in the room, the dog won't jump on the counter. You leave, the dog jumps up. Okay, so that's not effective punishment. So you got big, can't be associated with the owner, and then it has to happen every single time the behavior occurs. In order for punishment to be effective, the punishment has to occur when the behavior occurs. So if you take, for example, speeding, everybody speeds and we get occasionally punished for it, and that's why we still speed. Because when you're driving down the road, you see a police officer, you slow down. As soon as he's gone, you speed up. If every time you went over the speed limit you got punished, you would stop speeding. Okay? And then the last thing is the timing. It has to occur the moment the behavior occurs. The punishment has to occur the moment the behavior occurs. It can't happen after the fact. A lot of times we'll punish our dogs long after the behavior occurred. Take, for example, dogs that chew when the owner leaves the house. A lot of dogs get anxious when their owners leave. So the dog, to relieve that anxiety and that stress, picks up something and starts to chew on it. The owner comes home, sees the dog's chewed something, and they punish the dog, sometimes hours after the behavior has occurred. Now what the dog is doing is the dog is associating the punishment with the homecoming, not with chewing the TV remote or a pair of slippers or something like that. So now the dog, the next day when the owner leaves, the dog becomes stressed again because he knows that when the owner comes home, they're going to get nailed. They're going to get punished. So to relieve that anxiety, they chew. Owner comes home, punishment. Next day, owner leaves, dog becomes anxious again, chews, owner comes home, punishes. So you can see how it turns into a vicious cycle. And so what we got to do is we got to make sure that if we're going to use punishment correctly, that we follow those 4 steps. That it's big, that it's associated with the behavior, that it happens every time the behavior occurs, and that the timing is right there on the